Good evening and welcome to Monday Night Live. How is everyone doing? I'm Steve Leahy. Welcome back to Monday. Hope you're doing well. We got a fun project today. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I first wanted to say a huge thank you to the star givers from last week, the super chatters, the people who keep the lights on around here. Mr. Gary Shees, Brian Moore, Bug, Honey, and my brother Bob. Thank you guys so much for those, and thank you to everyone who showed up and hit that like button and subscribed and all that fun stuff. The only new thing I have on the list today is the summer sale is live. So I have two sales every year, one in summertime and then one at Christmas or the holiday season. And the summer sale is live. So if you are on my mailing list, which I hope you would be, you already know about the summer sale. If you want to join the mailing list, I promise I won't spam you like, new windows or replacement roofs. I basically just let you guys know when I have a new painting done and also when the sales are going on. So the new sale is going on. You can get 40% off everything. So I put the code right in the chat there, but I think I have a better copy of that here. Let's see if I can pull that up. Yeah. So the code is really easy. It's summer. No, that's not it. That one. It's summer 25. Again, that's 40% off everything on the store. So that's prints, originals, 543s, whatever the heck you guys want. And it goes on the whole cart. So it's not just like one item, which I'm super happy about. That's weird. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I'm super excited about that. It's always a good time of year. And yeah, that's what we got. Let's see what else is going on here. Yeah, I can see everyone. Okay, I was just worried there for a second that I wasn't actually live, that I'm sitting here talking to myself. Hello, Dan Mayer. What's up, Ryan? Ian, hello. Grumpy, what's going on? Thank you, Ryan. That's amazing. Thank you. Rick Latta, what's up? Michael McClung. Hello, everyone. Yay. I can't see comments yet over here, but I'll work that out. That's fine. I want to go back to this one. Yeah. So the sale's going on. That's going to go on. Well, it's supposed to be 2 weeks. So it's the 15th through the end of the month. But again, I figured I'd let you guys know because you guys are always around and I love you guys. So that code is working right now. So you can get a little bit of a jump before the general public hears about that sale. And you can use it as many times as you want. So if you place an order and then you see a 543 or a painting you want later on, you can use that code every time you place an order. So that's what I got. Good. All right. I was just checking the notes. Excuse the mess over here because I was doing a bunch of stuff and got crazy, but I got to have a cleaning day very soon. It's important. Let's look at the new painting. I only have one this week because, again, it was a crazy week and it was nuts. And, I'm trying to keep up with a bunch of stuff and I'm not doing a good job at it, but that's okay. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Wait. I don't know what's going on. What is going on with my channel? It's weird. It has other videos as being live right now, but everything's working. All right, I've got it. All right, it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Mike Manning, what's up? Hey, Roy. What's up, Roy Johnson? I wanted to throw out a comment, too, because Rick Latta got his painting and commented on how expensive international shipping is. It is. It's crazy. So, unfortunately, I don't have much to do with that. However, if you win a painting like Rick in your international, I send that to you. You don't pay for shipping at all. So if you place an order with me, though, what I do is, it's funny, the website used to default to the maximum shipping and then I would refund whatever the difference is when I actually ship it because it was different. Now that is the shipping. So I haven't, I don't know what's going on with international shipping, but it is expensive and I apologize for that. So hopefully the sale will take the sting off of that if you're not in the US and you place an order. All right, let's do it. So this suggestion comes from the People's Artists. Oh, before I do that, one quick other thing. As you probably have figured out, I've been screwing up on a lot of things lately. That a couple people make requests, do one paintings and then make requests for certain paintings that are on the website. And I've either given them away and not taken them down or made a mistake or whatever. So I apologize to the people who are winning and then picking a painting and then I'm emailing them and telling them that that's not available. They've been awesome. So one of the people was our buddy Pat Redmond, who went on and saw that his 944 Porsche suggestion was still on my site. So he suggested that, or he asked for that one, and I went to go look for it, and it was gone. As an awesome guy that he is, he ended up picking something else. But I ended up doing a 944 for him because not only did I screw up that, which I also screwed up another one. Sean's actually from last week I screwed up, but Sean picked another painting and he was awesome. But Pat, not only did I screw up not having his painting, but his message didn't come through to me until much later, which brings me to my next point, which I promise we'll get to it. I would ask that if you want to send me a message, just go to my website and either do the chat thing or send me an email. Both come to the same place for me. There is no weird, weird people intercepting your chats when you do the chat. It goes right to me. And I get those pop up on all devices. I can see those messages. It works out great. Where the Facebook messages get weirdly lost, I can't access my business Facebook messages on my phone. The app doesn't work, which is weird. I've tried reloading it. I just can't get it to connect. Instagram I get, but it's also kind of weird because it's the same company. But anyway, if you want to get to me, if you want to ask me a question, if you want to, when you win, if you want to tell me what you want, just send a message through my website. It's the best way to do it. Now we're ready. This one. All right, so last week, The People's Artist was on. Hello, Roberto. The People's Artist was on, and The People's Artist asked for Dr. Doom. So this is, that's not the one I wanted at all. That's the one I wanted. So that's Dr. Doom. Of course, Dr. Doom made his first appearance in the MCU in 1962 in the number 5 edition of Fantastic Four. He was, of course, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Dr. Doom has found himself opposed to all kinds of wonderful Marvelites like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and of course the Avengers, as well as the Fantastic Four. So a lot of cool stuff going on with this character in the MCU, and hopefully it works out. So this looks closer to that one. I had fun with this one. It's super simple, but I really love the way it came out. The reason why I also showed the Pat Redmond painting is because not this one, but Pat's Porsche is tomorrow's time-lapse video. So you can see how I painted that. This one I didn't do time-lapse, so sorry about that, but there you go. So if you win tonight, that's the only one I got. You can grab this one, or again, you can go on my website and pick one, and I will email you back and tell you that that's not available, and you can pick another one. Hopefully not. But anyway, you get the idea. So I just called that Doom. Doom. All right. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, so anyone with a green name there is a member here. And there's just one tier, so it gets you a discount, although you want to use the big time discount right now. My website will only accept one coupon. So if you are a member, you automatically get 10% off. Well, not automatically. You got to use the code, the special code that you get when you're a member. But you can only use one code on the website, so it'll default. So you want to use the big one. You don't want to use the little one when I have sales like that. All right, and one last thing. I showed you this last week, but it's finally done. And this is my finished painting of the Butler Museum, and that's with the cool vintage goalie frame. That's with the crushed marble in the background, which came out great. I'm really happy with that. And then the back is all set too, which has the cleats on the back, which are nice, and the cool little security thing. And this guy's ready to fly. It doesn't need those rubber bumpers because it sets off the wall with the cleats and the back, our little security thing. So there's no bumpers on that. And what's nice is if I can nerd out with you for a little bit, This is, like I said, it's a vintage 1961 frame from the Butler's collection. So I didn't want to do any kind of heavy modification to this frame. There were a bunch of holes in the back of it already. So, so I elected to screw this backing on, and the painting is mounted on the backing. So it's totally reversible. I could remove the backing from the frame, and the frame is back to where it was when I got it. So again, I hope it stays in this frame forever. And but if it ever needs to go back, yeah. I love the way that the marble, the shiny pieces of marble kind of glint here and there. And of course that has museum glass, and so it doesn't have any reflection pretty much. And that's how it came out. Super happy. So that's it. So I'm going to send this out to a bunch of shows and see what it does, and that's it. So now let's get to work. La 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 la. All right. Gary Shees, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ian. Them guns laying down in Sparta. Yeah, the brushes that are on the side here, actually not really. I do use them a lot. So this is my go-to like spray everything Eclipse. This is the one I use for like Autoborn Sealer and UVLS on the 543s. So it's got a bigger nozzle in it than normal, and it just helps it spray really, really well with the bigger stuff. The other brush that's tucked here is the Krios. And the reason why I'm not using this one is because I don't have enough airbrush hangers on the Visionaire yet. But this one I do use. It's a 0.3 millimeter gravity feed. It's just a good all-around brush. The other one that's tucked behind here is my Rich Pen 213, which this dude's dusty. I haven't used this one in a while, but this is a go-to detail brush for a long time for me too. And then the other one that's here, which is tucked down the corner, is my Extreme Patriot Arrow, which again, you know, it sometimes gets the call, but for the most part, yeah, it does not, because it's kind of, I don't have enough airbrush holders. But anyway, let's get to it. So I got this thing. I finally got one of these. I had another one. It's somewhere down here, and I bought one and it sucked. It wasn't very good at all, because as soon as I started using it, what this is an electric eraser. And an electric eraser, it just has a really small eraser in it, and you have this little button on the top, and when you hit it, it spins. And what you can do is you can remove paint with it. So I have kind of a love-hate relationship with these things, because I never really used them and I never found the use. But I got this one, and the motor is strong enough that when you actually use it, the other one I have, as soon as you put it on the surface, it's not strong enough. It just stops, even if you have a light touch, which is useless. So I was like, whatever. I must not, I must not need it. But I've seen a bunch of people use this model, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it again. It's a neat model. It's battery, it's rechargeable battery. It plugs in with a USB cable, and it's got different size chucks essentially for different size erasers. This one's a 2.3 millimeter, which ironically I found out as I was doing a little bit of homework, which I'm pretty excited about. Where is it? Do I not have it in here? I might have it on the other side. But the Tombow eraser that I have, the little mechanical eraser, the heck is it? It must be on the other bench. But anyway, the Tombow eraser uses the same size eraser. So the replacements for the Tombow eraser fit in this, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to do kind of a little zombie hand thing today. And we're going to use this and some templates and do some fun stuff. If you would like this painting, I have already put it up on the site. If you trust me, I don't know if I'll get it done tonight, but if you trust it'll come out good, you can purchase it now or you can wait. I would strongly suggest using the coupon because it is up for the full price. And if you use the coupon code, you will get it for, just about what I would put it up as a discount price for you guys. If this doesn't sell like the Chevy painting, what's going to happen is I will put a badass frame on it, and then it'll go up to the regular price, which it still will work because you can get a discount, that 40% discount on it too. For instance, the Chevy Bel Air painting, building the frame for that right now, but because the sale is going on, you get it for just over what it would have been unframed. So you get the UV custom-made oak frame, glass, the whole deal, discounted. So what I did was I went a little bit, I did a little bit of this before so we could have most of the fun with the with the rotting skin and the textures and all that fun stuff. So this is on ampersand clayboard. It's 3.5 inches by 5 inches, so it's a fun size. And I'll give you the quick rundown of what I did to get it here. But again, I wanted to kind of get this done, get a bunch done that we can actually see. So what I did was I took a photo of my hand in a zombie-ific pose. There it is. So I just, kind of put it on the thing and took a picture and brought it into Photoshop and cleaned it up a little bit. And then what I did was I just cut out a bunch of photocopy templates to keep things going. Mike Stevenson, what's up, buddy? Javier, what's going on? Yay. If I missed anyone, hello. So there's a few basic templates here that I use, and I'll show you real quick. What I did first is I did the background, so I cut out the hand and just put it on there. I used big magnets to hold it in place, and I just painted kind of a background for it to accentuate some of the darks and lights. And then I grabbed the template for, actually, let me do this. You can't really see it from there, so we'll switch over to this one so you can see it a little bit better. Hold up while I get my stuff together. There we go. Here it is. All right, so the next one was the white, or the light areas, so I just cut that out. And while this template is, cut out pretty large area, I just used it as a guide. It basically just blocked off the darkest areas like that. So then I was still able to put some of the details in the white, like the, your tendons and everything. So still able to do that with the white. And then I couldn't do the thumb and the fingers all in one shot because it would have fallen apart. So somewhere in here is the other, yeah, here it is. This is the same thing. It's a white template, but it does the thumb and the pinky fingernail. So I did that real quick, got that in. And then it was time for the dark areas, which was this. And again, this is just like kind of a roadmap. It wasn't anything real super specific. I just wanted to get some of the darkest areas in the edges. And that's kind of where we're at. All right, so now you caught up. So that all took me about, I don't know, a little over an hour to do. And that's what I didn't want to do tonight. I didn't want to, get you to this point and say, okay, yay, we don't get to use the eraser now because we took all our time doing that. I do have my printout of all my hand parts because I'm going to put some voids in this thing and rips and stuff. So we might as well make it somewhat accurate. So there you go. All right. Yeah, we're going to use a couple things tonight. We'll use the eraser. The electric eraser, we'll use my regular standard erasers. We'll do some scratching. We'll probably put some color in this, some greens and yellows and make it really gross. Paintbrush, I plan on doing that. Whatever I don't get done tonight, I will finish this. And I do that whenever I put it up there live. So, I know, related thing. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, who forgot who? That's okay. I didn't forget you. Are you talking to me, Bob? You're awesome, Bob. What else we got? Do you remember that the other day I had a problem with a bottle of Evil Magenta fixed with bleach drops and no smell now? Javier, that's really interesting. And that didn't affect the paint at all? I mean, that's cool because you would think bleach would have killed whatever's rotting in there, but still, man, that's crazy. Oh, yeah, that's true, Ryan. Yeah, I did do Jenna. Forgot about that. All right. So first thing I want to do, like I said, I want to knock some of this out so that it's not just my hand. And it would be fine if it was like zombie and there were no voids in it, but I think it'd be fun to have some parts ripped out. So definitely here. So I'm just going to kind of make some notes on this thing with a pencil just to kind of give myself an idea of where the little rotted areas are. I don't want to go too crazy with this because I've got a lot of this already kind of already done, and I don't want to go too crazy with having to readjust a whole bunch of stuff, but a few of them here and there will be good. Like the one down there will be good too. And then I'm going to have to bring this out a little bit so you get a little bit of extra something, and that one's fine, and that'll do it. All right. And then we might as well go the whole way. So across the hand is just going to be some, I don't know if I want to see bones, but maybe some bones and then some tendons. That I definitely don't want to go down to all the way down to the bones. So I'm going to have a lot of, like muscles and tendons and things. That's kind of what I was hoping for, more than the, like I said, more than just like, skin and then bones, all the way down to bones. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so that gives me a good idea of where we're going with that. Perfect. We have purple. Oh, Javier, that purple bottle for me is way gone. I threw that out a long time ago. But interesting that worked. Jeff Simon, what's up? I had to check, Jeff, to see if I had 6 fingers on there. Had I done this with reference from AI, it probably would have had 6 fingers. But since I only have 5 and I used my hand, that's good. So let's start messing with it. All right, so I've got a little bit of background on here. So I'm going to start by removing that background. And I'm going to use Ye Old Electric Eraser. Now this is normally where I would just use the standard eraser because that's what I got and that's what I'm used to. But I made a promise to myself that like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with electric erasers because I think they're too aggressive and they're not as refined as just like kind of getting in there with for instance, like if I have a sharpened eraser like this. I could really kind of control this and I feel really comfortable with this and I can push down, hard on this or just kind of leave it, leave it on with a light touch and just remove light layers. And you can do that with an electric eraser as well, but I still feel like I'm flopping around with it, like I don't feel like I'm real comfortable with it. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get comfortable with it so that I could use it on the regular. The other thing I'm looking for now is to find other erasers, hardnesses. The way this works, this chuck, is it just slips in here. So I'm going to shorten this a little bit so it doesn't have as much give. But yeah, the eraser just fits in there. This opening here has a metal clip that will hold a bigger eraser as well. But for my stuff, the small eraser is the way to go. It does come it comes with a bunch of stuff. It comes with an absolute metric poop ton of erasers. So I don't think I'll ever need to buy erasers again with it. But again, the Tombow erasers fit it. So I was thinking about trying that because I don't know. Yeah, that's better. It's shorter now, so that's better. Yeah, the other thing I got to get used to is it has this weird, not weird, but it skips as it kind of spins. So I got to get used to that too. But it's very efficient at taking material off, which is what it's for, really. But it'll be fun to mess with it, and we'll get a bunch of cool textures out of it. All right, what else do I got to do? I got to take out some of the highlights there because I don't need those. Good. All right. All right, so from here, do I want to do the color? Now let's just get into doing some details. I'm going to move you guys closer. We'll start with those kind of rotten areas on the wrist because I want to put some texture in there and kind of manipulate that, and we'll see what we can do. One thing with the wrist sounds like you got Mars. Yeah, it's the other thing. And it also sounds like a dentist drill too. So for those who have aversion to dentist drills, I apologize in advance. All right. I did a little bit of work on my my CMC, my custom Micron C. It was spraying by itself a little bit, and it's been doing that for a little while. So I basically broke down the front end of this thing and really made sure it was cleaned out, and it did. It had paint in this part of the body of the head, right about here. So I cleaned the nozzle out. It's still sprayed by itself. I cleaned the nozzle cap. It's still sprayed by itself. Oh, man. Thank you, Brother Bob. Ah, Hayden, what's up? Congratulations. Yay, graduation day. I love it. Dude, that's awesome. That's great. So I cleaned out the two places that this would normally happen and cause this, which is the actual nozzle, and then, you know, I did the nozzle cap too. But the paint was built up in the head, in the middle of here, in the channel here. And what it was doing was the needle couldn't go all the way forward because it was stuck on dried paint in here. So I had to pull this apart and clean it out. But I think it's working. We'll find out. So anyway, this is my kind of go-to for detail white. When I want to do white, but I also want to get it real detailed, I'll use the Micron C. And this one is just standard setup with this, you know, 0.23. So now that I've done all this erasing, let's see what we got going on here, because it still feels like it's spraying by itself. It is spraying by itself. All right, so problem not solved. It was solved earlier, though. If this gives me an ounce of problems, I'm just going to switch brushes, because then what I would do next with this brush here is completely tear it down and soak it and do all that. But I'll just switch out brushes if it's going to be cranky. But so far so good. All right, so what I'm going to do is, now that I've got the drawing part of the damage done to his skin, I'm going to just kind of go in and redo all those highlights that I missed, or that I took out with the eraser, and also, you know, just that I didn't put in originally. Remember that original, like, kind of quick template thing was just to kind of get a feel for where different stuff was. It's not, again, I call it all the time, it's like a roadmap. And that's all it is. It just tells me where big shapes are, so that when I get to this part, I can put the details in around those bigger shapes. Oh, you know what I could do since I'm close? I was leaning over to read comments, but I'll just move the whole thing over. That way I can see them in real time, like real close. Yeah, that's better. Robert O'Malley, what's up? There we go. Mike Manning, hello. To everyone who jumped on that I did not say hello to. Hello. All right, so now with this stage 2, I can start getting into some of these highlights and the details, like the rotting part of it. So I can add on to different areas. Make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah. And start that texture now. And again, the white is going to be the lightest areas. So, you know, this side of his hand, the left-hand side, is going to be dark. So I don't want to go too crazy over there, because a lot of it will get covered. But I do want to put some of it in there too. Because that will, you know, even though I'll bury it with a lot of shading, it'll still be in there, so I can leave some of it if I want to. Yeah, we'll start with his wrist and all the, you know, the fun tendons and stuff that are going on in there. And then as we go along, we'll you know, move up to the fingers and everything. But basically, it's going to be the same idea across the whole hand. I was going to show you the airbrush holder from last week if I did any more on it, but I did not. I am looking forward to it, though. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I got a lot of good plans for it. I am going to put some gold leaf on it, and yeah, clear the whole thing, and then re-clear it in the spots that need to be matte, you know, matte finish instead of gloss. So that'll be good too. All right, so I've got a bunch of that on. So we're going to start with the, yeah, I'm going to stick with the electric eraser as much as I can. Thank you, Mike. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Now, the big question is also how long is this going to last? I fully charged this before the feed, so I don't know how long it's going to last, but that's the other thing we'll find out. So now what I can go in and just kind of re-carve out those, the white that I just put in. Now, illustration colors, the Createx illustration colors, they're designed to be reworked. So when I get into thicker layers of the Wicked colors, it's not going to erase as nicely as it would be if this was illustration colors. However, I'm kind of prepared for that. And generally the way that I paint is in really, really light layers anyway. And those light layers are not as strong as like if I were to really hit this with white. If I really hit this with white, I'd have to use a real aggressive eraser to get through that. Ryan, I don't think so. I honestly don't. I mean, Do I have a... I was just looking to see, Ryan, if I had a piece of Mupo or something that has Automorn sealer on it, but I don't. I don't have one already prepped and ready to go. But I'll check it out. I would doubt, I mean, maybe it will if you build up enough heat on it. Well, you know what? What could go wrong? So we'll pick down here, and I'll see if I can burn all the way down to the ampersand. The ampersand board is white, so what should happen is I should go from the gray to the white. And then, nope. No, it's just shredding the eraser. Now, that said, let's you know what? All my erasers are over there. Are they really? Did I really not bring them over? What the heck-o? Give me 2 seconds. All my erasers are on the other bench. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Or they're not on the other bench. What did I do with all my erasers? I used them to take a photo. It's like a family eraser photo. I don't know what I did with them. Well, anyway. I do have that one really, really aggressive... oh, no, that's not it. I do have that really one aggressive eraser that would probably dig down because it's like sandpaper. But yeah. No, apparently the electric eraser can't get through. So this is a Faber-Castell 7058, which is a kind of a soft eraser. And that's not going through either. That's not going to get through the sealer either. Which, that's kind of a nice thing. Like, I don't know if I'd want it to go through the sealer, because then it would be like sandpaper. So, they've been erased. I know, no kidding. Yeah, Ryan, it is good stuff. So now I'm just going to kind of go back into the white areas and just add like, I'm really lightly kind of skipping over the stuff I just put on here, the white, to kind of give it that more like, you know, kind of messed up like skin type feeling, like it's coming off. This is going well. So let me, I'm going to start, do I want to start introducing color? No, I'll introduce color after because I want to be subtle with the color. I want it to just kind of have a weirdish green, yellowish green feel to it. I was going to start it now, but then that's going to set things up that I'd have to like match that the whole way through. And I'd rather do that at the end. James Cully. What are you doing? You're watching Blue's Clues? Aw, my kids grew up on Blue's Clues. That's awesome. No, oh, Mike with the nachos. That's mean. I'm starving. Sean, what is up? So Sean is one of my victims as far as picking paintings that don't exist anymore. But he was very gracious and grabbed another one, and I got to go through the entire box of 543s and match them up to the site so that I can clean that all up. Michael C., if that eraser had a random orbit, wouldn't the alignment of it be important? Yeah, it would, absolutely would be. Because it's not sanding, it's not, you know, that's not as a requirement where, you know, if you have a random orbital sander, you don't want a sand pattern, which is why it spins, but then it also rotates, for those who don't know. So picture this little head not only spinning, but then moving in a circle as it spins. So what happens is with a sander, when you're sanding, you don't get any sand marks, or very little. This one, you know, I don't really, you know, first of all, I don't know if they could build one this small, which would be pretty amazing. But for this type of stuff, yeah, all I need to do is be there to remove it. So I did try, I've seen Craig Fraser use a Dremel, but I couldn't get it to not absolutely destroy the surface on the scale that I work. So, all right, so I've got black here. This is really reduced black, and same thing. Now I'm going to start thinking about details, but I'm also going to kind of try to keep it as general as possible. So for instance, like I know these voids in here inside this opening are going to be the darkest. So I'm going to start there and then just kind of work backwards. I'm also going to, interesting. This is the second time today this has happened. So the 10 to 1 or 1 to 10, 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer is kind of like my go-to for detail. But the second time that I've done this today where I started using it and it's like super strong. Patty, you're never late. There we go. So James, I've already done it. I'm doing it tonight. Although thing wasn't as gooey as this dude's going to be. Yay. I was catching up on all my videos today, so I missed everyone this weekend. It was a crazy weekend, so I didn't get to jump on to see Michael paint. So I was watching him this morning, and that was good to be able to catch up on a lot of the feeds that are going on during the week. Also came, I don't know, you know, I got by that cold, but I've been super, super tired lately. And so I haven't been able to be up for Tim's feed, but I'll get back to it. Same thing with Bill. You know, usually I'm able to kind of hang out for a little while, but I've been like really like tired. Pat, what's up? I mean Roy. Why did I say Pat? Because I had Pat Redmond on my mind. I had cheese grits and NyQuil on my mind. Hello, Roy. What is up, buddy? All right, so again, I kind of get the feel for like where the darkest areas are, and I'm just kind of throwing those in first. But once I really start to get those, I'm going to add a little bit of 40/50 to this. So hold that thought, put a pin in it. What I want to do is I want a little bit more control over this. So I could add more reducer and make it even thinner, but this is really thin right now, and I don't want to go any more crazy than it is. So I'm going to add a little bit of 40/50 to this. That will make it a little bit more controllable and transparent without causing the whole paint system to like fall apart. Because if it gets too watery, it just won't stick at all, and then it gets to be a mess. So I don't want that. So by adding 40/50, I can kind of smooth it out a little bit and then have it work. Yeah, Michael, I don't know. This should be a relatively slower time for me, but there's a lot of things going on and I'm trying to make it all work. So all right, the beauty about rotting skin too, or this kind of texture, is if I have little blowouts or it doesn't quite go where I want it to go, it doesn't really matter because, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, that's much better. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. But now, like, I'll do it on this tendon, like the details on the tendon. Now it's just coming out and it's really like even and smooth, but it's very, very light. And that's great. That's just what that's okay. Because I'd rather take my time with this now than, I'm not trying to like just paint it black. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to, you know, put in like these like fibrous textures that are going on inside his hand here. So, you know, same thing here too. Like if you're working really large, you're not going to do what I just did because you don't have to. So you can work with super tight details when it's large and have it be, you know, a heavier paint, a thicker paint. But because I'm so close to the surface right now, it needs to be super thin. If not, it's just going to turn like super dark, you know, really like hit it hard when I get on this thing. But if I'm working bigger, it's not necessarily the same thing. So again, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. If you're working larger, like even 8x10 larger, you may not need to reduce everything so fine. Steve, how do you like precision airbrush feeds? That was pretty good. Yeah, Grumpy. Oh, so much fun. And those guys, you guys are all crazy over there, which I love. Precision is great. Rob is great. I'm really, you know, I'm super happy he did that. He did that feed, kind of highlighting the other channels, because I had no idea, you know, that the other feeds were going on. So those are great. So even here, so now I've kind of laid out where all the, the tendons are in bits and pieces, but just because I did the airbrush there doesn't mean it has to end there. I'll switch over to this one and then turn, hopefully, did I set this up? We are gonna find out. I did, yay. All right, I should have worn my yay t-shirt today. All right, so again, the idea is just get the job done, however that works. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of, black on a paintbrush and add in some of the details on this. And again, this isn't the last step, it's just one more step on the way. So again, if I couldn't get some of these really thin lines with the airbrush, I can certainly get them with the paintbrush. But even there, the story doesn't end there. So I'll sharpen up some of these edges where the skin is really torn, and I don't want that soft edge there. But then I can also, it's too small for the eraser, but not for the knife. So now I can go in with the X-Acto knife and just gently reverse out and pull out some really, really thin, tendon lines and details that way too. And again, the story doesn't have to end right there. So I do all that. Now I have the real sharp paintbrush lines and the knife lines, but I can go back in with the airbrush and just gently soften those up. And that gives me, everything. It gives me the sharpest lines, the sharpest highlights, but yet the softest blends at the same time. Tony D! Yeah, you guys do have a good time there. That's so much fun. But, because he's, down on the underside of the planet, he's on in the mornings, and man, sometimes Michael's great because Michael's on in the morning too. So it keeps me from being a productive human, because all I want to do is sit there and watch airbrush feeds and stuff. But yeah, back to paintbrush. So again, the paintbrush is going to give me that really nice tight edge on the edge of the skin here where it needs to be. I don't want it soft there like down at the bottom here. I want it to be ew, that got ripped out. And softness just doesn't do the job, because I can even cut into it and add tiny tears in the skin. That, and again, if I hit it too hard, if I do too much with the paintbrush, I know I can always come back in with the airbrush and then just soften that down. So basically what I'm saying is there are no mistakes. You can fix just about everything. Old Agent Bobby, nice. White. Put some brighter highlights on this thing just to kind of get my bearings here. So this should have been, is this dark in my photo? What I also want to do is I also want to keep a reference photo floating around here, because you can get so tied up in the details you forget the major forms, and I don't want to do that, because what happens is you just focus on the details. Sorry, I got the paintbrush in my mouth. As you focus on the details and you lose sight of those bigger forms, things flatten out. So the edge of my arm, even though that light is kind of coming from the top here, this edge of my arm is dark. So I want to keep that the same way. So I think for that, I don't want to go black, but I think I'll do it a darker gray to kind of give me the other edge of this skin. Maybe it's even too dark. And again, this is the fun part. You can try different things. If they work, great. If they don't, you can always just blow them out, and try it with something else. I may find that it would be cool. I'll show you. So I put that edge in there, and I got to look at that, and I got to say, okay, does that work? Does that help tell the story, or does it not? I purposely put a white area behind the hand here because this part of the thumb is really dark. See it? So because this area of the thumb is really dark, I wanted a light area in the background to help pop that forward. But down here I kept it going, but I may not need it. So let's try this to see if it works. I'll grab some white, and instead of having the gray there, I'm just gonna like lighten that up, like make it like it's really bright right there on the edge. And I'm just gonna take a look at that and see what that does. If it works, great. If not, just let it dry and I'll just pop it out, you know, just do something different. But I think that extra bit of white is what the doctor ordered, aside from, you know, a hand transplant. All right, I'm feeling that flattened out a lot in there. All those tendons that aren't really, I was having too much fun with the detail, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Is putting all those dark lines in there and fade and everything, and now those two little, whatever they are, now they just kind of flattened out. So I got to pull them back out. The best way to do that is with highlights. So I still think the electric eraser is going to be too fat in there. So I don't want to use that blade because it's dull. So I'm going to start by pulling out a few highlights with the knife and see what that does. And that's probably not going to be bright enough, which it's not. So that's not bright enough. We'll just use paint. Need a reference photo, especially if you're doing city painting. Yeah, Michael, that Tokyo, oh, I just smudged all that. Oh, well, now that's still wet. Okay. Yeah, that Tokyo painting couldn't happen without any of those city paintings. I can't do without a reference photo. You know, this one, yeah, you could, but it helps so much to have it. So we're going to add more of that highlight along the edge to kind of help it feel like the skin is kind of lifted up here and there. And again, the reason why I pulled the white was to get some highlights on these tendons. So that'll help them kind of pop out a little bit. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of photo reference. I don't trust my head, you know. I also don't. I mean, yeah, I think it's really cool. People can just draw stuff out of their head. However, most of the people that can draw things out of their head are just practiced at it. So, for instance, if you draw a lot of hands, you're eventually going to be able to just draw them out of your head. You know, that's practice. However, I don't know how many times I'd have to paint Tokyo to be able to paint Tokyo accurately out of my head. There are some special cases with some very special individuals that are able to have that kind of total recall. I am not that person, so yeah. I'm a big fan of photo reference. Okay, so the other side of this, the light is, I'm going to kind of have the light coming from somewhere above. So this side of the hand, even though it's not completely, you know, in the dark, I'm going to really push the dark side on this. So how am I going to do that? Because I already cut out part of his hand. My thing is, I have a template for this side of his wrist, but it doesn't include the stuff I added yet. So if I go and use that template, obviously I'm going to have it all wrong on that side. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it with the paintbrush and a dark gray to kind of set that edge, and then we'll just see if we can just airbrush around it. So we'll get a nice dark gray, and this is a bigger brush. This is a size 1. Same brand, Winsor & Newton, but it's just a bigger, I'll show you. This is a 0, 00 that I use all the time, and this is the 1. So you can see the difference in the size, and it's starting to dry out, which is why it's split. But it just holds more paint. I can run a longer line with it. This brush has just about had it, but I'm still using it. So first thing I'm going to do, and this paint is overly washed out, which isn't ideal, but it's a good start. So again, what I love about these brushes, they have, they're very, very soft. So they put down a pretty even coat really well. This is way too thin, but I could just build it up. So there we go. So now I can do the same thing with that scar on the inside. I'll finish the details on the scar as I kind of figure out how dark I want this side. Because this scar here, this ripped up part, is going to be really dark. And maybe add a few more of these darker ones just to kind of help things along. Now, that's going to be good. That's all I need. So what that does for me is it keeps me away from, getting overspray out here. If I know with the Micron I can get in close to that and not get paint over this side. However, if I wasn't quite sure that I could pull that off, you can always add a little bit more thickness to this line. Again, you don't have to be perfect with it. This is going to be really smooth in the end. Let's dry that off. When I get the airbrush on it, it's going to smooth all that out. And don't forget, it's a zombie hand, so there could be texture in it too, which is nice. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take advantage of that not smoothness and pull some rippy lines out too. Here we go. Good. Yes, Patty. I do have them. So this is what I normally would sign. This is a regular pen, not a Crowquill. But this is how I would normally sign a 543. If you watch this time lapse, this is what I use to sign all the 543s that have white signatures or gray signatures or, anything light, like Dr. Doom. I haven't found a good small white pen. The Microns do a great job for, signing in black. But this is what I use. And yeah, Createx will work through these. You do have to reduce it quite a bit. But once you find the right consistency, like for white, I find mixing it 2 parts paint to 1 part reducer is a great thickness for this pen. Allows me to just sign it. So yeah, it's a great suggestion. Yeah, exactly. And the beauty of doing that is you're using the same paint. Like the Micron, these, like say Micron, because they are Micron pens, but they're not like made by Iwata or anything. But these pens here are pigmented paint or ink pens. So you can clear over these. They work great. I never have an issue with kind of, reactions or anything. However, sometimes if you use a weird chemicaled pen or pencil, like if you use colored pencil with wax in it, for instance, it's going to resist any clear coat you put on it. This one won't. But the nice thing about using paint through like a dip pen is that you're using the same paint you're painting with. So there's never going to be a reaction, which is the bonus for it. Ball in the end, that's awesome, Michael. Yeah, because that will give you a super smooth line. And I think they'll hold more ink because of the way they're 2 parts. They're the top part and then the lower part. What do I want to do here? Since I was thinking of it, and this is the electric eraser one. Look, I've already got paint all over my electric eraser. All right, so let's go back in and kind of see if we can rework some of this paintbrush line, just so I don't have such a paintbrushy line. So I'll put some texture back into this edge. Just so when I airbrush over it, it's not so, paintbrushy. Brian Moore, you're on vacation. I love it, Brian. That's awesome. Congrats. I say congrats to people who are on vacation because I don't know what that is. Vacation, I mean. All right, there we go. And you should always have these erasers that you can buy. Usually have this funny brush on the back. The funny brush is so you don't do what I just did, which is wipe it off with your fingers, the dust, the residual eraser stuff, because you don't want to put oils and stuff on your work. So that's a Draftsman thing too. You don't want to put oils on your drawings, so that's why they have. Draftsman will have a big long brush, which I have one of those too. But obviously, this is tiny, so you don't have to do that. All right, so back to black. Back in black. Brian, hopefully you're in a cool place, enjoying your vacation. Hopefully you are nowhere near all this rain that we are getting right now. Oh, Brian, you're on vacation. Save that for vacation money. Thank you so much, though. All right. So again, see what I'm doing? Like now, this is what I'm talking about. With this Micron, I don't have to worry about really masking off that edge, this left-hand edge, because there's plenty of paintbrush buffer there to kind of keep me away from it. I mean, I don't want to back off and just hose this thing down because then I will get paint everywhere. But you can do a lot with a little. You know what I'm saying? Dan Mayer, what's up, buddy? Now this might be too thin, but that's okay. Because now I am trying to get some coverage on this. I'm trying to darken this up. And this color is, or this black is so reduced, because I was using it for that detail stuff, that it's just taking a really long time to cover. But it's, the upside is if I'm not in a rush, which I'm sort of kind of not, you can still get a real dense black out of it. You just have to build it way up. The advantage there is, again, you know, you have a lot of control over this brush. So I can get like the most fine, like I could do all of the texture just with the paintbrush or the airbrush now. I wouldn't have to use the eraser or anything else, because I can get super tiny, you know, super tiny lines with this. So. Oh, wait. I know. Yes. Bob likes to remind me that I let my passport expire a while ago, and I have not renewed it at all. And that's bad, because I'm a bad man. I gotta go visit Bob. And when I go visit Bob, I gotta drive through like London and visit London Penn. I gotta drive through, like, I gotta go up the Detroit way, because I gotta go visit Ivan Benek. I want to see him work. That's amazing. I spent a bunch of time with brother Robert. My actual brother Kevin would probably want me to stop in, but Bob's going to have score bars, so, you know, screw Kevin. Kevin's my biological brother who lives up there with his much better half, Sandy. Road trip, I know. Ribbit Hillbilly fishing and shooting is our thing. Brian, that's a vacation to me, though. Like, I would love to just, like, and I've never camped. Like, I camped once, but it didn't count because I was in college. And really what it was a bunch of college guys going up to New Hampshire, putting up a bunch of tents, and then drinking until we couldn't see. So, you know, that doesn't really count as camping, because we could have all been eaten by bears, and, well, they wouldn't have, because we were all pretty much pickled, but they know better. But yeah, I don't know how a camping trip would go for me right now, because I don't know. Like I keep saying, I want to take a cruise, but I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to get on the boat and sit there and do nothing, like absolutely nothing. Like I want to do nothing to the point of being uncomfortable. Like I should be doing something. No one gets it. No one gets it. They're like, well, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to get on the boat and just, like, you guys go somewhere. I'll just sit on the deck. I think I need some paintbrush in here. It's coming out exactly like I want. I mean, there's no problem here at all. But this is where just kind of messing around will produce some cool results. So now I gotta think out of the box. Like I have my Gerald stencil right behind me, and I have my Drew Blair skin templates. So I should pull those out and I should use them, because I generally don't use a lot of texture stencils, and I should, Plenty of seascapes. Yeah, Ian. See, that's what I'm talking about, Ian. Or just like, going to the UK and just doing the pub crawl thing, and, just seeing all these cool places, and, but not any, like the last thing I want to do, and I do want to do it. Like I'd love to go to Italy. I really need to see, the art and everything, but I know what would happen right now. Like I would go and it would be like, I have to see everything, I have to go see this, and I have to see this, and I have to, and then by the time I get back, I'll be blown up. And I don't know. I want to go on a trip where, like, at least somewhere where I'm just like, I can't do anything. Like there's nothing to do. Are they really grumpy? That sucks. Cause, for a while there, I was getting torturous messages from Del Stanton. And he was taking pictures of all these pubs he was in. And he was like, okay, when I get there, I'm going to that one. That's no good. So okay, again, a little bit of paintbrush in there to kind of break it up. And like I said, I got to do some stencil work too. So let's put on some gross livery spot things with Gerald's template. Come visit me, have to do drink beer and scotch. Yeah, Bob, that's all we're gonna do. I'll just sleep in the camper. Yeah, see, I wouldn't think that. Even though I see everyone else doing it, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So my point for tonight, hopefully, is think out of the box. Like, we love what we do, and I mentioned this. I'll give you a little spoiler alert. I talk about this on Wednesday night with Open Studio. I become so comfortable in what I do. Not because I think it's the best way to do it. It's simply because I can expect the results. You know what I mean? Like if you have a basic set of tools, but you can fix anything, right? You're not going to spend the time necessarily to learn a new tool just to learn a new tool. You know what I mean? Eventually, if you have spare time, yeah, you learn that new tool so that saves you time and money, or at least time if you're doing it for yourself. But normally, if you're just trying to get it done, you say, okay, I know I can get it done with this set of tools. I'm doing it. And I get trapped in that a lot, where like, I know what to expect with what I got going on, and that's what I'm going to do. But that's so freaking cool that See, Michael. Michael, I'm so sad that, like, we used to have, like, my dad's brother, oldest brother, my Uncle Mick, the one I talk about all the time. They used to live in Maryland. And we used to go down usually once a year, but sometimes twice. And so we spent a lot of time, kind of going back and forth. And I really loved it there. They have all moved. They're all in different spots now. But yeah, I have really fond memories of that area. My oldest brother is more in line with the age of that family. So he would end up going to Rehoboth Beach with them when they would go on their, kind of little vacation. Kind of vacation at home. So I unfortunately missed all that, but yeah, I love this. All right, I need to get some sort of highlight detail in here. Even though this is dark, I still need something to jump out. Well, let's give it a shot. Yeah. Oh, Patty, that's cool. Colin. Yeah. Yeah, Carl, it's we are officially. I just told everyone too, Colin. Like, for everyone, Apollo 145 is my oldest son, Colin. You know him from the other feed. I was just telling everyone, Colin. It's like now I can't. Like the Meta app for the Messenger doesn't work on my phone. I can get messages on my computer. But even though I've deleted it and uploaded it again, it just won't let me. I can download it, but it won't let me log on. It won't let me connect to the messages. So I can't get Facebook and Instagram messages on my phone, which is dumb. So that was kind of, the nail in the coffin for me as far as, would I ever, go back or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'll still post stuff because I think it's a necessary evil, but yeah. They are doing everything they can to make it as trashy and unusable as possible. The good thing about coming to the UK is it rains that much. You could still do seascapes on dry land. Well, Ian, currently in Northeast Ohio, it has rained way more than I've seen the sun. So I would be used to it. In fact, it's raining right now. We got thunderstorm warnings too, which I was a little bit worried about after seeing Scott McKay got completely blown up. So I was kind of worried about that, but I think, cross my fingers, I think we're going to be okay. How are we doing? Oh, because Honey's not here. Someone's not doing Honey's job. It's 5 past, so let's give away a painting, and then I'll just keep working on this. I'm having a blast. This is a lot of fun. So again, here's where we're at with this. Again, this is up on the site right now. If you want this right now, you can go grab it, but make sure you use the coupon, which is this. Some are 25, and that'll get you 40% off everything, including this painting. It does come unframed. If it survives, I will take it down off the site or put it back up on the site at the regular price and frame it. But you'll still get 40% off, so that's a good thing. There'll be some greens and some mucusy yellows and fun stuff. So we'll do a good job with it. I'm not going to take anything off the board here because I just want to get right back into it. So we'll just do the giveaway and then we'll jump right back in. So here is tonight's painting. This is from the People's Artist. Asked for Dr. Doom last week, and that's what I came out with. I was happy with this one. It was a lot of fun, and that's that one. So again, because we're halfway through the year, a lot of people have won already, so our list is getting shorter. So we have 8 people on the list tonight. Again, though, some people have noticed, especially the winners, well, one of the winners, I can't remember who it was, noticed last week that their name isn't on this list, even though they made suggestions. All I do is print out the people who have not won yet. So I have a list of all the people who made suggestions. We are collecting points, and then I gotta hook up with Colin at some point to try to figure out how to repost the graph again. I'm having a senior moment with that, but I will get it'll be on the website, so you'll be able to check your points. But as soon as you hit the point total, I think we have it at 80. You just get a painting. You just win a painting, even if you already won one. So that'll be fun. Let me get this set up so you can see them, and then we're going to switch to that one for a minute while I do this. 8 and 1 chance. Yeah, I mean chances are really good. Again. Even if you're, on the other side of the pond, if you win, I send it to you. Don't pay any shipping on it, so that's good. Just got to figure out what I'm doing here. Oh, yeah, we're set up. We're ready. We're good. Here we go. 8. The big number 8. 3. Dave. Where's Bug? Bug when you need him. Grumpy. You're so close. All right. So the good news is, like I said, by the end of the year, usually everyone wins. Actually, everyone has won. So hang in there. Keep making suggestions. You guys will get it. So there you go. So I actually have something going out to Bug right now. So I will find out from him what he wants, and I will add that to his thing, because he picked up the Normandy painting. Which is cool. So I'll just include his win with the Normandy painting. I didn't see him on tonight, but I will send him a message. Or if you guys see him on another feed, just say, hey, guess what? Congratulations, you won. Dave the Bug Gregory. All right, back to it. So what I'll do with this painting now, so you get the idea. I'm really crazy happy with this right now. I do got to fix that little thing, but that's easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding color to this to give you an idea what the final thing is going to look like. So, but what I'm going to end up doing, I can talk, but Sandy, what I'm going to end up doing is like making this, much darker and, doing all the regular detail, but I want to get some color in this too. So for this, again, I want subtle color. I want the gray to be the color, really. Maria, what's up? Yay. Welcome. I know, Grumpy, you're so close. Just, Grumpy, if you feel really bad, I think Kyle started a support group for people who came really close and took a while to win. So you can check in with him. He did win, and it all worked out. I promise. All right. So I was lucky in that I got a bunch of this Game Tech modeling paint to mess with. It's what we used last week on the 3D modeling, the 3D airbrush holder. So we're going to use some of this. This is interior green, U.S. interior green. But I got a bunch of greens, a bunch of blues, that kind of thing. So we're gonna mess with that. For this, I think I'm going to use the Micron C again, because I want some control out of this. This model paint is designed to brush really well, but it's also designed to airbrush well. So we're gonna We're going to put it through some of its paces. What I want to do is, again, I'm going to do more of a tinting thing. I'm not going to like blow through this thing and, you know, paint it green, for instance, or I want to add to what I've already done. No, dude, I love it. I love it. All right. Now I got to find out where he's going to be putting an airplane seat. I know, no kidding, Michael. I know, actually, that's a good point. I should touch base with him because I ended up, I framed, he ended up going with framing on his win. And when you frame it, sometimes it takes me a couple extra days. So to everyone, including Honey, who's been waiting the longest, anyone who ordered something or won something, I'm going to be getting all those out this week. I know, Ian, that you're the other one. All right, let's see what we got. This might be too strong, meaning, you know, there's too much paint and not enough transparency, or it might be okay. We'll find out. And the other fun thing is this is extremely yellow. So we're going to have to mess with this. I think he's picking us on UK folks. Oh, I love my UK folks. This is very opaque too. This is interesting. All right, let's go into my notes. So, all right, this is very strong. It's very opaque, and I have it reduced, and I have it with a little bit of white in it too, because I didn't clean out the brush, but yet it's still very strong. That's interesting. So again, what I want to do is I don't want to paint this thing green. I just want to, or yellow, whatever this is, even though it's interior, US interior color. I just want to add a hint of that gooiness. And that's going to be enough for that, because I thought that was going to be much more green. And before I get into messing with more color, I think I'm going to go back to pumping up the black a little bit. So this is another thing I'll do a lot. So this isn't anywhere near the final value that it's going to be, meaning the light and dark. So I want to kind of integrate the color as I'm developing the value. So I don't want to go all the way dark and then add color to it, or add all the color to it and then make it dark. I want to do both of them at the same time. So that way I have a lot of control over both. I'm not like, oh man, that looked great. I wish it was lighter and now all the color's on it, you know, and then I'm stuck. So if I kind of add some more of the shading now around that color, the little bit of color that I just put on, I can make decisions on it, you know. And the other really nice thing, very much like the 3D print from last week, by adding all these layers, it adds so much more complexity to the painting that it just adds to that realism. It's not like, oh, he painted that and then he put green on it, because that's what you see. You see the green sitting on the top. This green now, or I keep calling it green, but it's really kind of yellowish. But this color is now going to be buried underneath a bunch of other stuff. So you'll see it, but it'll be kind of tucked in and kind of poking in and out. And that just adds to its realism. The support group. There you go, Michael. Yeah, so let's do that. Michael just said erase around the color too. So let's do that, so see what that looks like. So this I'm just going to like touch the color. Like I'm not even like digging in. I'm just letting it kind of hit the edges. This stuff is pretty strong too. Like it's not really, it's erasing, but it's not going anywhere real fast, which is, it's good to know. Well, you really, you know, for the most part, for me anyway, I really want the paint to stick, even though I'm abusing the crap out of it by thinning it too much. Which again, you know, everyone asks if I use illustration colors, and it's not that I think reworkability is bad, but it doesn't work for the way I work. Where I understand that it's important for, you know, a method where you're scratching a lot and doing what I'm doing right now, erasing and that kind of thing. So again, it all boils down to the way you work, you know, and that'll really help you determine the type of paint you need. Now I'm going to get rid of this black because this is really too thin. The lovely Dee. Dee, how are you doing, sweetheart? I miss you. All right, so this is, I went back to that original Tenda one, that color I said was a little bit too aggressive in the beginning, but I want it to cover a little bit better now, and it is, and that's fine. I got a lot of control over it. Again, remember this side of the zombie arm here is going to have the shadow, so I can start to build up like a more general shading on this side. Again, I'm going to leave that wound there until later. I'll do that on my own. Gary, what'd I miss? I trust in you. Oh, Gary, you're the man. All right, so Gary, the other thing I was going to do is I think it's going to need like a silver pinstripe on the inside. But what I'll do is I'll finish this up and then I'll show you, and I'll let you let me know, because in the end I'm not 100% sure. Like I may get all the cool greens and yellows, and this may need like a purple pinstripe to set it off, or I may not need anything. I don't know. I won't know really till I get it close. But we'll touch base on that. London base. I saw Grumpy, where are you based, and I saw London pen, so I said both. Yeah. So Gary, if you, I will finish this week, and then I will post it, and you can take a look at it, and then we can go from there. This is definitely one of those, like, all right, I don't know if there's another example. I'm going to try to think of an analogy, but like for me, like I love working on the Tokyo painting. Don't get me wrong. It's a blast, but it's also a chore. It's mentally, it can be mentally exhausting because it's extremely repetitive. I know I get to talk, I get to do the videos, so that helps a lot, but that can be a really hard painting to get through. And I don't mind because the results are worth it. But a painting like this is really like just, I don't know, it's like if you're a musician, and you play gigs all the time, but then you go to an open mic night and you just get to jam. That's what this is like for me. It's like, I get to kind of pull out all the stops, but there's not a whole lot of pressure. You know what I mean? Like it's a good time to just kind of like come up with new ideas and know that I'm not like, oh my God, this has to be done like right now. You know what I mean? So I love working on stuff like this. It's extremely addictive. Grumpy, I hear they have good pudding there. Is that true? Yeah, it depends on, it's Michael, it's a lot of mindset stuff, like, all right, so if I wasn't doing that painting for Open Studio, I don't know that would have been in the queue when it was, because I need a break, and I just did the Cincinnati painting, and usually I need like a mental break before I start a new one like that, and I just jumped into that one. Yeah. Nice. Brian Moore, enjoy that fishing. Dude, I'm so jealous. That's awesome. All right, I think I've got enough value on this side now. Yeah, I've got enough value on that side. I don't want to go too crazy because, again, if I drag that too far over, it's going to flatten out this, and I want that wrist to really feel round. So I want to leave it there for now. What I'm going to do, though, if I want to mess with some more value, I'm going to grab that. Do I still have the green in that? No, I cleaned it out. Let's go with what is this? This is just green 22. Green 22. Let's see what green 22 looks like. This one is, the other one I have, green 23, and that's super yellow. Compared to the one I just had, that's mega yellow. So I don't want to use that one. Oh, I do want to use that one later, but not right now. And I think what I'm going to do is, even this green is very like olivey, so I think I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. So I'll put like one drop of this stuff in, or 2 drops. Yorkshire pudding with gravy and onions. Oh man, the food talk. Yeah, I would do that. All right, and a little bit of black. This is already reduced, so that's nice. It was a really thin one. And I'm going to add a little bit of 40/50 to it because I know this stuff from the other color is really, really opaque, which is good. But I don't want to run into like a bunch of problems. And I'm going to add a little more black to it. Ah, roast beef. Have you tried Medea New World's paint? They are Createx Coast formula for brushing. Yes, I do have them. Yeah, they are very cool. I got a little bit of a few of those early on, and I think I'm feeling that these paints are very similar to that. All right, so let's see what this looks like. This, I'm going for a more olive green. This might be still too. No, this is good. You know, I'm a big fan of like pure colors in bottles. Like I'd rather mix them down myself instead of having like, you know, a zillion different colors. Like I have 25 greens. Like I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather have a real good like green that I can count on and then be able to like move it around as I need it. So that's a color that's like, you know, green is not a primary, but that's, I'm going to use that word. I want colors that are really close to their center point on the color wheel. So that way I can add to them and move them around myself. It just makes my life easier because, yeah, you would think that if you have to mix all your colors, it's not making your life easier. But if I have one base color that like a blue that I really know what it does when I add stuff to it, that's so much easier than having like 15 blues that, if I need to change this a little bit, you know, what the heck do I add to it? I've used this color twice in the last year, that kind of thing. So I'd much rather have, you know, a color that even if I have to move it a lot, like if I have a real standard green, but I need to make an olive green out of it, I could take like a Viridian and make that happen. You know, I know what colors to add to that, and that just makes my life easier. So I know that seems counterproductive, like, oh, you know, you should have, you know, if you had the color you needed right out of the bottle, you'd be ready to go, but that's so rare to have happen. Yeah, exactly, Rhea. You mix your own as you need them. Yeah, I have I have a whole rack of Createx right above me. And they're all the other colors that I don't generally use, you know. If I need them, they're there, and that's great. But there's colors that I'm like just kind of standard on, you know. Whereas Gerald, he loves green. Yeah, let's not tell Gerald. He came in the last minute last week. This is probably not the best time for him to come in this week. So with this color, this darker green now, remember I said I kind of backed off on the black, the value. This is a real darker green. It's got black in it. So now what I can do is I can start to make that transition from the darkest area on this side as it rolls over. And I can kind of still get those details in, you know. I can kind of work those in. And now what I also want to do definitely is to, you know, start that darker stuff on this side too. I should have done the black on the side to start, but as long as I don't overdo this green on this side, I can always add the black and it'll just look like that anyway. But before I get too far with this, I want to add a bunch of this green and then I want to hit this whole skin area with the electric eraser. Timothy John Luke Smith. Tim, congratulations on, I think you're done. I only got about halfway through your video, but I'm pretty sure your new Persephone painting is done. So if it isn't, I know it's close, so congrats in advance. And yeah, man. I loved that they were naming that poor dude standing in the back of the subway. And he's going through all the, you know, the Mr. Magoo's and the, you know, that was great. Poor dude just wants to get home after teaching art, and everyone's giving him a hard time. Yeah, I like it. So for this, I vignette a lot of paintings too. So down the bottom, you know, I don't like things just kind of going off the edge of the page. So I'm going to vignette this, and I'm going to start with the green, but it'll eventually have black to kind of shade that up. A few touch-ups. Awesome, man. Did he end up being Mr. Magoo in the end? That was the final word. That's cool. Poor dude. All right, I'm losing this here. Dan, I said hello to you, right? Hello, Dan. Mr. Dan Mayer. All right, so again, I'm by vignetting it, it just kind of gives it a base. I don't want to go too crazy because it won't make sense to the story. You know, if I make that really, really dark, although I could get away with it. because, you know, it could be that this hand is coming out of the ground or something, which I was going to do. I was going to have it coming out of the ground at the bottom, but it looked, when I did the sketch originally, it just looked too, like, gimmicky. I don't know. It looked like it was trying too hard. Oh, that's right. I heard Scrooge too. That was good. Poor dude. So again, with that vignette, I'm just going to add a little bit more darkness down the bottom of this thing, just to give it this gives it a chance to fall off the edge of the board without me having to do too much explaining on it. All right. This makes me happy. I have all my wrist bits, which I still got to work a little bit on this, because I am going to add some color to this too. I'm going to add some like sick pinks in there, you know. See, you should try a new Yupo paper that's mounted on aluminum. Tim, I heard about that. Here's the thing with that for me though. So I put Autoborn sealer on everything, right? So if I get Yupo mounted on aluminum and I spray it with Autoborn sealer and sand it, it's going to feel exactly to me like an aluminum panel that just has Autoborn sealer on it. So that's probably why I won't grab it, because it adds an extra step that I don't necessarily need. But I think it's great that they're doing that, because, you know, ampersand like this guy here, it's a wonderfully stable surface, and Yupo didn't have that, you know. So I think it's a great move for them. But yeah. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of this will make more sense when I'm done. I got one more step after this, but what I'm doing is I'm going in and adding some really dark, tiny details to really kind of push the idea of that Gerald stencil. And this, I should have that original, though, that real thin black, so I could get in tight. But this is working out, because I don't need to be super crazy precise with this. It's just, it adds a little bit of extra on it. Yeah, thank you, Bob. Yeah, anything you guys can do on the like side of it, or, you know, even more so, if there's a piece of art that you really want, take advantage of that sale right now. Again, it's only for a couple of weeks, and the summer sale and the winter sale are really, you know, a chance for me to kind of get a lot of the paintings into people's hands that you know, maybe have been waiting, or, you know, not quite ready for at the time. And it helps me, you know, like I have a lot of 543s, and it helps me kind of thin the flock so that I can, you know, keep going with it. Oh my gosh, what I love about this too, this is actually coming out very woody, mossy kind of thing. So this is even better. It's like, it's just kind of, it's taking on a life of its own. It's gross. I love it. All right, so last but not least for now, this will give you kind of the next step. Although, you know, they're going to do a lot more with the color in here too, because I like the way it's coming out, but I don't like that it's all one green. So I may push it and add some browns to it to see how that looks, like a rotted type of brown. And what's nice about this is it's gonna basically tell its own story. You know what I mean? Like, if it starts to really feel like wood, like rotted wood, then, you know, I may let it go that way. You know, I'm not gonna put, like, you know, flowers coming off it or anything like that, but, you know, it might get to the point where, like, I want it to be like someone looks at it and says, what is that? Is that wood or is that skin? That would be a great thing, you know? But I'm going to have to let it tell the story a little bit more. So next thing I'm going to do, let me turn this back on so you can see it. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of white, but I'm also going to thin this out a little bit. And I'm going to just kind of go in here and start adding those highlights on the highest parts of the skin. In this instance, I don't have to worry about blue shift. A couple of maggots would be nice. Yeah, no kidding. Maybe some worms. I don't have to worry about blue shift with this because I've got greens and yellows, and the blue shift really only happens on a warmer color. So if this was like, if I really push this as like a fresh skin tone, you know, like this zombie just kind of came alive, then I would have to take a couple extra steps with these highlights. I'd have to tint them orange a little bit so that they didn't turn blue. I mean, blue, blue highlights on a zombie is not a bad idea, but again, it has to be intentional. And blue shift is, for me, is rarely looks intentional. And that's not where I want to be with this. So again, this is a really thin white, and I'm just kind of adding it to add a little bit more texture to that, what's going on there. If I didn't like that, just go over it with, with a couple other layers, and it's gone. The other thing I may do is I may remove, I was going to have this be like up here so you could see through, but I kind of like that it's just dug out. So I may just remove this line. Let's do that. All right, I'm going to take a chance. I know I'm going to have to fix the background anyway. So we'll just run through this and see if I can remove this with the eraser. I know I'm going to have to fix it because of the lack of precision with this little guy. I mean, again, it's pretty small. But that's not freaking bad. Yeah, I like it better with that gap in there. I'm going to have to do a little bit of airbrushing on it. And I don't know if this is the right black to do that, but we'll give it a shot and see what it starts to look like. I won't mess with it if it doesn't look good, but yeah, it looks all right. And then I will mess with that a little bit more to bring that to its final value, which will make it match. But I also want to, since I got you guys here, so again, where that edge is here, and the airbrush doesn't do a great job at it, but the paintbrush does, I can really get that edge really tight. Same thing down here, I can really add that sharp edge to it. Maybe even have a few little danglies on it. Yeah. Good. What else? What else we got to do? I was going to do one more thing. Yeah, here's one other thing I'll do. This is your bonus for tonight, and I got to get you really close for this. Let me switch you out so you don't have to go on the ride, because I'm going to get you guys real close. This is Open Studio close. So this is usually where the camera is for Open Studio. It's like right on it, which is why I can't do Open Studio. I can't do the Tokyo painting live. I did it last week, but it was rough because the camera's so close and I can't get around it. And well, I know, cry more. All right, let's get this focused. So that little dig right there is what I want to kind of take care of. And if you guys are really close, you'll be able to kind of get a feel for this. So the way we're going to fix this is a fade in this. You can't see it now because you're so close, but it goes dark and then it gets light up as I move up. So that's a tough thing to fix. I could repaint the whole thing, which is the quickest way to do it, but I also run the risk of having it look a lot different than what it originally looked like. So the nice way to do it is to kind of just address the damage. So first thing I'm going to do is turn the camera on so you can see it. Yeah. So I'm going to grab a little bit of kind of like a lighter gray. So I'm just going to mix up a lighter gray here, maybe even lighter than that. And you take these repairs in steps. So I'm not going to try to like match that color perfectly right out of the gate. I'm going to start with a lighter color, and I'm going to kind of take the curse off this because this goes right down to the ampersand board. I can tell because it's white. So I went right through the Autoborn sealer. Could I use Autoborn sealer here at this stage? I probably could, but I'm a little bit darker than the Autoborn sealer. And I just want to get rid of that white first. Like that. Maybe right here too. There's another one right there. Good. So let that dry a little bit, but let's sit there for a second and think about what it's done. And while it's drying, give a little bit of a breath. I want to check to see. So it's still a little bit light, which is perfect. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of black, just straight up black. And the reason why I'm not adding, like making a darker gray, is because the gray that I have there is atomized black paint on gray. So if I mix a gray, I'll never match that. It'll always look different. So what I got to do is on that last stage, or on the stage closest to the last stage, I have to kind of mimic what I did with the airbrush. Now I could hit it with the airbrush, but the airbrush isn't as precise as those damaged bits are. Move this over so you can really see it. So I've got an extremely reduced black, like this is almost all reducer. And all I'm going to do is really gently just kind of touch the damaged area with this paint. Make sure it doesn't flow off too strong. It's basically like a dry brush, you know, so it's just about dried. And then what I can do is I can just gently just touch those damaged areas. That was too much. And I wiped it right off. Ah! Well, hopefully you get the idea. It's better that I wiped it off. Like, I put too much paint on. If I let that dry and it was too dark, then it's a way harder fix. So the fact that I wiped off even the first layer that I put on was actually a good thing. So I let that dry, and then I can see it's still a little bit too light. So I hit it again, and again, it's more of a, you know, like a patience thing. Hit those damaged areas. That one's still too light, but hopefully you get the idea. But see how the other ones have disappeared? They're gone. That's what we're looking for. You know, it's just like, I don't want to really have to repaint that whole area, because so much can go wrong with that. You know, if I use like a really opaque color and it doesn't match, and it just ends up being sideways, you know, I just end up chasing it, and then that little corner now is way darker than everything else. That's kind of what happens. So I really want to try to deal with just the spot that's damaged. Now, I'll let that dry because that's pretty much close. Close enough for rock and roll anyway. Oh, there it is. So now I still have black in the brush. So what I'm going to do now, dry that off for real. I'm going to block this off a little bit just so I make sure I don't get paint on the green. And now I can go over the whole area a couple times. Now I am making it darker, but I'm not really like crushing it. Like, I'm not making it crazy dark. All I'm doing is using the airbrush to kind of smooth out the rest of the damage and make it go away. And that's it. So now I'll switch back to this one. I'm going to move the camera out so you can see the whole thing. Again, you know, I would say jump on and grab this, but Gary already did because he's an awesome human being. But there are still plenty of other paintings on my site that the summer sale will work for. So please take advantage of that. Make sure I got this focused. There we go. And this is what we got so far, which I'm really happy with. Super gooey. At this point, like right now as I back out, I still feel like this doesn't have a lot of roundness to it. It still does, I mean, in a way. But at this point, I would like, you know, if I was coming near the end of this thing, I would just like hit this section right here with a little bit of transparent black, and maybe a little down here too. And that just helps that roundness curve over. So there's gonna be a lot of that in the fingers, but it's definitely going. So my initial thing is it's too green, which is okay, because I can add a lot more gray to it. And but I'm also not sure about it. So when I'm not sure, I leave it, and I'll finish the rest of it using the same techniques that I just did. And then I'll take a look at the whole thing. I know that I don't want to add yellow to it now, so I might add like a maroon. And I know that sounds weird, but when you add red, you know, a maroon is the kind of the complement to the green. Where it mixes, it'll turn this really weird gray, which will be really might just be perfect. And that maroon in the spots where it shows will be like, you know, fleshy. I like that. All right, so that's just me thinking out loud, but there you go. There you go. So switch around here. Do that. Do that. That's what we got. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for hanging in there for Monday Night Live. We have a full week. I've got everything done. So that means we have the Pat Redmond's Porsche is tomorrow's time lapse. So you can check that out on Tuesday. That airs at 10 a.m. And then Wednesday is Open Studio. We're working on the Tokyo painting, which is a lot of fun. So that premieres at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So you can come and hang out with us. We do a lot of fun stuff there. And we're back, we're back at it. So I'm going to try to get back to 3 543s a week. Hopefully this week will be a little bit lighter, and we'll see. But in the meantime, I'll at least have one to give away. So we'll do that. All right. So thank you all. Remember, Summer 25, you're going to see that as we leave. Summer 25 is a code. Go get your art. Buy it all up. Make me happy so that I can go on vacation like Brian. And or at least buy food. One of the two. And that's what I got. So thank you all. You guys are amazing. I had a great time. And I will catch you guys all next week.